watch them grow.
Good morning, my peeps and creeps and my boys and ghouls. This is Laura Graves, and welcome to my channel. Keep on digging, that's the whole purpose. Keep digging for knowledge and truth and happiness and everything in between. Anything that's important to you or that you want to learn, keep digging for it, you'll find it. I have a few creepy stories about my mom, things that she had seen before she passed away. So when our loved ones are sick and dying, the things that we were told as kids didn't exist. You know, the creature underneath the bed, the monster in the closet, the creepy shadowy figure hiding in the corner behind your door. Those things do exist. And to be honest with you, some of the stuff my mom told me when she got sicker and sicker, it actually surprised me, to be honest with you. She told me she had seen fairies, and Haley Reese talks a lot about fairies and the fairy realm and things like that, and how childlike visionaries, you know, sick and old and getting ready to pass, or young kids, are the only ones who can see these creatures. And she would talk about how they would come in to the room and they would be playing little instruments and making music and doing weird acrobat things to like try to make her smile. She really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I was kind of freaked out. So mom would see these critters and creatures and things that weren't really there in real time. Or maybe I couldn't see them. That was the point. I couldn't see them. My brothers couldn't see them. Other friends and families couldn't see them. And it was very interesting for me to watch the different stages my mom went through, and some of the things that typically what doctors and stuff call hallucinations and dementia and things like that, or Alzheimer's, whatever. I truly believe that stuff, you know, when people are getting closer and closer to passing, that it's not like that. It might be a chemically induced hallucination, but what that does is open the third eye, and the third eye allows you to see things that are not from our dimension, not from our reality. And fairies and gnomes and goblins and spirits and other worldly creatures become more visible to us when that happens. So it was extremely interesting for me. I kind of feel stupid because I did just kind of like dismiss the fact that my mom was seeing fairies, and I let it go, you know. I was like, let her enjoy it. She's enjoying it. She's, you know, she says it makes her giggle, makes her laugh, cheers her up, you know. So I let it go. Then the next time I see her, she told me something, and the way she described it, I just knew instantly what she was talking about. And at first, I have to be honest, that I was scared. So I go over to my brother's, where my mom was living at the time, and she had been regressed at this time to where she was talking about my brother's like they were little kids. To give you a little bit of perspective here, there is a huge age gap difference between me and my brothers. There's about 20 and 21 years between me and my brothers. So for my mom to regress mentally and down memory lane, that she has to get the boys ready for school and pack their lunches, and I was like, what boys? Mom, who are you talking about? She's like, the boys, your brothers. And I was like, what? Okay. And she was talking about the kitty cat, the kitten, that's sitting on the chair, and everybody keeps sitting on the poor kitten. And I'm like, there's nothing there, Mom. She physically got up and walked over to this chair and started feeling around and goes, oh, I guess it moved. I'll give you a little more detail here. My mom had gone more than partially blind at this point. She had glaucoma and macular degeneration, and basically they got rid of the glaucoma, but the mac was there and it went wet. And usually when that means when it goes wet is a blood vessel typically bursts in your eye and you start to lose your peripheral vision, your sight vision, out of the corner of your eye. So she lost her side view. So she was only able to see directly head on at some time. And so when she got up to feel for the kitten, it was because she couldn't necessarily see it. She just knew it was there. So that was another thing. Same day, she tells me there's a shrouded or hooded figure standing behind the TV watching her at night. Knowing me, I had to ask questions. So I was like, what do you mean you're seeing a hooded figure behind the TV? And the TV was fully up against the wall. So it's not like anything could physically be back there. As she said, it had been at least 6 foot tall. It was a dark, shrouded figure. It had some kind of cloak or hood on. And it changed. Sometimes it would be a male figure. Sometimes it would be a female figure. And sometimes it would be skeleton figure. And I was like, okay, that's creepy. And then she proceeds to tell me, she goes, I'm not afraid. I don't feel threatened. I feel like they're just checking up on me. They're watching. And it's kind of like, are you ready yet? Nope. Okay, I'll come back. And it did this, I would say, for about 3 weeks prior to her death. Mentally, she had regressed so much that I'm surprised she even knew who I was, or that she knew who her sons were. But she kept telling me that, that figure came back, and this time it got closer, and it would get closer and closer to her chair that she would sleep on. And again, she would state that she didn't feel threatened or in danger or scared or anything like that. It was just checking up on her. And the last time she talked about it was probably about maybe a week, maybe 3 to 4 days prior to my brother moving her to a facility that was able to take care of her until she passed. She tells me the Reaper is back, and my blood ran cold as soon as she said that. And it wasn't because I was afraid. This is just something that I was fairly certain things things like a Grim Reaper didn't necessarily exist. That was just in my head. The fact that my ill mom, days, weeks, whatever, from passing, tells me that the Reaper is back. Now, in some cultures, the Reaper or the Grim Reaper is considered death or the angel of death. Now, I had no idea that this thing is able to not necessarily shapeshift, but take on forms of other people and family members in order to comfort the subject. It was just, it was a shocking revelation for me to get confirmation that the Grim Reaper or death or the angel of death or whatever was actually a real concept. And she truly believed that she was seeing this, and I believed her. It was different for me, but the fact that she saw this Grim Reaper-ish thing, and it kept getting closer from the TV stand all the way to her chair, and was like watching her, comforting her, kind of like doing this, hey, you ready yet? You almost ready? And it makes me curious. I want to know what else is out there, and I certainly start to believe my friends and my family so much more when they say they see odd things, because probably about 90% of the time they're actually telling you the truth. By the time that they moved her from the assisted living, she was placed into a hospice care home, to where she was only there for a couple days before she became non-responsive, and I seriously think it was the medication just made her sleepy. My brothers called me, I went over, they say come and say goodbye because mom's non-responsive and we have no idea how much longer she has. So I go over there, and my brothers are like, Mom, you have a visitor. So I go, and just a reminder to you guys, I am female to male transitioning right now. So my brothers said my female name, and my mom still didn't respond. She didn't wake up or nothing. I sit down in front of her, and I take her hand, and I say, hey Mom, I'm here. And she opened her damn eyes and smiled at me, squeezed my hand, and goes, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Now I can rest. And it was like she was waiting to see me before she was like, okay, I can go back to sleep, and then I can just wait, And it took her a few more days after that before she finally passed. And so then when they said that she had passed, I'd gone down there, and I was upset, naturally, and I went in to see her, and I shouldn't have done that because it left a really dark impression or a creepy impression in my mind, because she was physically gone, but her vessel was still there, her body, and the way she had passed, she fell asleep. She fell asleep with her mouth open and her finger in her cheek like this, and was just a dead body like that, and it was just the creepiest thing ever. But yeah, guys, when people tell you they see certain things like that, give them more than the benefit of the doubt, because they probably most definitely are seeing things that are like that. So that's the end. Keep on digging. Bye.